as people come in, they can join in late and they can go back to our website and see the beginnings if there's something that they missed and wanted to see. But everyone, welcome. As you come in, again, reminder to put your name and your school and your grade level in the chat. And then if you have any questions as we go along, please put those there. We have coaches that will be monitoring the chat to help whoever's doing the actual teaching and instruction at that time to be able to help them out. And then there's places that we can go back to look at it. Any links and those things we'll also put in there. The chat and the video will be on our website, the At Home Learning website that we created. And yeah, I think we are ready to go. Charles, I think you're leading us out today, but I think everyone's chiming in throughout.
Yep, we can throw some things in there. It'd be great.
I think our first, where we wanted to start, correct me if I was wrong, is we just kind of wanted to ask everyone else, what is your level of use with Google Drawings to start out with? Where do we have ideas of what we can and want to do, but we want to find out what you have done so far. So maybe put it in the chat or open up your mic and just kind of tell us some things that you have done, your level of experience with Google Drawings.
Cool. If they add those things to the chat, I want to start off with a couple little tips to get going. Some of my frustrations, and like here's a way that Google Drawings can help us out. So keep those comments coming, rolling in the chat. But for me, one of my frustrations is working with Google Docs and trying to insert images. It is so frustrating to get things, especially when you're wanting to layer things on top of each other. So for example, I'm here in a Google Doc, and if I come up to the Insert button and Image, I'll just search the web. And of course, I have all my good stuff happening here with Zoom. So let's say I'm going to insert a picture of a cat, and I'm just going to click on cat, and see if I can hide this. There we go. And click the Insert button. There we go. I have a picture of a cat on my screen now. But let's say I want to direct students to a certain point on this cat. Let's say maybe his eyeball or something for science. I'm going to go to Insert again, Image. I'm going to come down to Search the Web. And this time I could add an arrow in here. And so let's try and add an arrow. Click on it and click Insert, or I can just double click on the arrow, right, adding in an image. And of course, I can go back, I can reshape all this, and not a big deal. But the problem I'm gonna have now is I can't get this arrow. I try and like move it on top of the cat, and they just kind of switch places. I could play with some of the image options, like wrap text or the break text. That's not really gonna do much for me. You just can't do it in Google Docs. So never fear, that is what Google Drawings is going to be for.
Charles, as you head over in the chat, it says most have never used it or have used it very little.
Right, yeah. And this is one that I was kind of, I'll be honest, a little bit skeptical about a couple years ago. But the more I use it, I'm like, oh, okay, this is really, really good. And it's now turning into one of my go-tos as a tech tool. When I'm working with images and some other things. We'll get to those in a little bit. So I'm just going to open up a Google Drawing. So I'm going to open my Google Drive, click on New. I'm going to come down to the More button, slide over and down is Google Drawings. And I'm going to create a new drawing. One of the things you're going to notice as this is loading up is a lot of the same tools that you're familiar with Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Docs. You're going to see some of that same tools up at the top. But let's say I want to do that same recreation of, I want to insert something in my Google Doc, but I want to have some layers to this image. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to Insert, Image. I will search the web. If I can use other things too, but I just want to get a quick image in there. And since I was doing a cat, for all my cool cat and kittens out there, of course, I can put that image right in there. And now I can go through, I can do the same thing. I can insert an image, search the web. I can put that arrow in, for example. So when I highlight something on my page, I can just double click on it. And here's my arrow. I can bring that down and say on a point maybe at maybe his eyes or something with this arrow, and I can do that. The other cool thing is, yeah, you're probably familiar. I can take this image and come to the corner of the little box and click on it and just drag it and make it a little bit bigger. But there's still this kind of this white space of checkerboard. The checkerboard will make it invisible. It's transparent as a background. But if I don't want that kind of hanging out there, so I can click on the this background area, and you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner, these little lines show up, the kind of little triangle lines. I'm going to get right on top of that, click, hold it down, and just drag up to where I want to kind of resize this image and let go. Notice that the whole image will now be filled up. Awesome. That's great. Let's say I want to add an arrow, maybe another arrow or something else to this. Instead of going through and just adding an image, you can actually customize it a little bit better. There's a little line feature, but if I go right to the side, there's a little drop-down arrow. I'm going to click on that, and I can make a couple different things. I can like scribble on it, some polylines, curves, but there's an arrow feature right here I want to show you. So I'm going to click on arrow, and now I can say, let's look at maybe the nose or the whiskers. So when I click on it, it's not very thick or big, but some different options show up. First thing is says the line color, so I can change that, maybe make it red. The next one is the line weight. The weight is how thick in pixels it is. So if I go up to like an 8 or a 12, I try to match the other one, oops, and change it to maybe a 12 or something, that'd be great. Add an extra one in there. Here we go, let's change it to a 12. There we go, something a little bit bigger. The next one is a line. What kind of line do you want? I can make it a dashed line, for example. There's dots, or I can make it a solid line, keep it solid, however I want to work on that. Kind of cool, right? There's some other little things that you can do with drawings. I'll give this a quick name. Let's call this, I got it, Mr. Cat, just for fun. And let's go back to my Google Doc, that problem of layering. I couldn't insert those in, right? So now let's talk about how do we insert a Google drawing. I'm going to come up to my insert button. I'm going to come down to drawing, and I have two choices. I can either start a brand new drawing from scratch, which is kind of a cool feature. But since I've already started this one in my Google Drive, I'm going to select from Drive and wait for it. There we go. Mr. Cat just popped up. So I'm going to click on Mr. Cat. Or I could search for him if I needed to, if I couldn't find it. But since it's recent, it's right there for me. Let's select it. Now, when I do this, there's two things I could do. I can link it to my source, or I can insert it unlinked. And I'm going to put link to source, which means that, let's say insert. So now in my Google Drawing, there it is, the nice layers. I've got everything there. But the cool thing is it's now linked to my Google Drawing, which means if I want to change something up here, let's say I want to add maybe put a circle around his ear or something. So I'm going to click on the little shape feature. I can add some different shapes. I'm going to say I'll add a circle or something. And I'm just going to click and hold down. And now I'm going to put a circle around. Okay, I'm covering them up, but you'll notice there's a fill bucket. I could change the color of that fill bucket, but maybe I want to make it, I can make it red or something. There's going to be a border color. Let's change that to red. And the border weight of that circle, we did 12 before, let's do 12. Now I can go back and make my fill color transparent. There's an option to be transparent. Boom. And look at that, love it. So now I have a little circle. I can kind of manipulate that circle. I can make it skinnier. I can make it a bit wider. Say, hey, look at this. So if I make a change on my Google Drawing, and now I'm going to come back to my Google Doc, it's going to say, oh, there's an update to this picture. I click on update, give it just a second, and there it is. It's now updated in my Google Doc, which is kind of cool, right? So now you can add layers to those images and put them right into a Google Doc. Whereas before, that was so frustrating to do those layers and mixing things up. very difficult. Kind of a fun thing I did for math, for example, is trying to put a picture in and point to something in the picture. It wouldn't work. But now with Google Drawings, I can go through and do a lot of different highlighting or putting an arrow or something like that in there, and that's pretty cool. There you go. That's kind of one of my first tips for Google Drawings is really how can it work with Google Docs. It's awesome. All right, let's do another one. I'm assuming probably a bunch of you use Google Forms, and in Google Forms, here's another cool thing you can do is this header section. You can go over and you can customize that. And right now you can put this cute little train. It's nice. It's cute. There is a customized theme, that little palette button. So when I click on that palette button, like how did I get that in there in the first place? And I added in a header image. If I were to click on the X, say let's get rid of that. It goes kind of back to that plain boring Google form, but I can choose an image. And they have all these different images in here. I could go to my photos and find something, but there's this magic upload button that Google has added. And I can browse and find an image. So if I were to say, let's browse for something, and this goes to my desktop, let's say, oh, here's a cool picture. Let's add that in there. That'd be so much fun. So I hit open, and you'll notice that, oh, it's not going to get my full picture. No matter what I do, I can make it smaller, but it won't get that full picture. So let's just clear that and say, skip that for a minute. It's like, why won't it? So I did a little Google search, and it tells me the size of the picture that it needs to be in pixels, 1600 by 400 pixels for a Google form header. So now if I go back to Google Drawings, one of the cool things that we can do here, let's just get rid of this. I can click on it and press delete. I can get rid of some of that stuff. Is I can change the size of my image. And this is going to be awesome. Click on File. And just like in Google Slides, you can do this. I'm going to come down to Page Setup. And it's going to say, probably at first it's probably to say you're a standard 4x3, because I did that little corner tweak there. It changed it a little bit. But I'm going to do a customize. And right now it's in inches, so I'm going to change that. But this would be a good one if you're running like an 8.5 by 11. I could do 8.5 by 11, hit apply. You know, this looks just like a worksheet a student could do. When you print it, it'd be 8.5 by 11. But I'm gonna go back to File, Page Setup. But this time I wanna change this from units to pixels, because I wanna create a Google form, something awesome for my students, 1600 by 400, and let's hit apply. All right, so we can now customize this banner, right, to fit for whatever I want to do. So maybe you have pictures of your students in there. Maybe you have a picture of your school. Let's go through. I think I just pulled up one of Santa Quinn yesterday. And added that in there. So let's see if here's one for, here we'll click on it. Here's Santa Quinn Elementary. I'm just going to right click and say, let's copy that image. Maybe you have something else you want to pull in there. You can, again, insert, and you can add an image from somewhere else. But I'm going to come in and paste that Santa Quinn Elementary. Boom, there it is. And kind of play with this one a little bit. You can add other things in there, maybe a picture of like your logo. Would be cool. I think I saw that later on. I was playing with this one, this website a bit before. I thought they had a Santa Quinn logo. Let's see if I can just put logo in there. That might help. For the chieftains, here we go. So I have a couple of different little options I can pull in. I thought they had a blue one that I really wanted to pull up. There we go. Let's put Nebo School District in here. That's the old one, but let's just say I want to use that one anyway. Right click. I can copy image, which is just like doing the Control C, and I can right click and I can paste it, or you can see the shortcut Control V to add that in there. And again, anything that's in those checker boxes will be transparent. So I can kind of make this a little bit bigger, which is cool. I also pulled in like the principal. If I went back, I think I saw a picture of the principal, Ian, somewhere, and if not, I could find it somewhere else. There's Mr. Gowdy. That's awesome. Let's see if I just go to their website actually real quick. Thanks for being patient on that one. There we go, faculty. Here's another way you can have some fun with people. So I took their principal, all right? He asked me to do a little thing. I'm gonna copy his image. Let's go back to my Google Drawing. And I'm gonna paste his image in here. Here's another cool thing you can do with Google Drawings. And with slides, you can do this too. But here's a picture. I'll make it a little bit bigger for you so that we can see it, right? And it's kind of the same boring rectangle shape. Well, when I'm on an image, I can go through, I can double click, and I can crop things out, make it smaller, however I want. But one of the other options is right next to the crop button, crop image, go to the side, there's a little arrow, pull down, that says mask an image. This is a cool tech tip. So I'm gonna come down and say, how do I wanna mask this? And I wanna make it, maybe put some rounded corners on it, a rounded rectangle. When I click on it, notice what it does. It makes this very professional looking, like, oh, look at that, right? I can put that and make it super cool, nice. I'm gonna make a little copy of that. I just did a Control D to make a duplicate. But watch another thing you can do. If I just want like that, his face in there, for example, I'm gonna come back and do my mask. And this time I'm gonna do a circle. So there we go, I got a circle. I can come over as well, double click. Let's bring that down just a little bit. So gotta get his beard in there, that's pretty sweet. Thank you, Ian, for letting me play with this a little bit. Just bring that back. And then try it one more time. But so the cool thing is you can kind of mess around with this. You don't have to be a wizard on other things. There we go, look at that, right? So you can kind of play with that Photoshop, for example, right? This is a quick, easy way to do it, that mask feature. And I can put his image wherever I want. It'd be pretty cool. But again, put your students in there. Put a picture of yourself in there. Make it fun for the kids. So the next thing you can do with Google Drawings to get into that Google form is I'm going to come up to File. And now I have the option of downloading this as a PDF, a JPEG, or a PNG image file. There's also this SVG, but I'm going to do a PNG, so it has that invisible and background. I can put some of these over here. Just put Ian on the side. Thank you, Ian. Perfect. Let's save this as download it as a PNG. So File, Download, PNG image. And I'm just going to save this to my desktop. Let's call this one Senequin, for example. Now I can come back to my Google form. In the header, I'm going to choose Image. Let's go to the magic Upload button. Come to Browse, or I can drag my file in right there. So here it is. There it is. Senequin is right there. I can click on it and say Open, or because I just saved it right below, let's see if I can drag it in. Boom, there it is. And notice it's going to take everything because the exact size, a 1600 by 400 pixels. Click Done. This is going to be so funny. And adding this picture in. There we go. There we go. And there it is, right? How cool is that, right? Your kids could see a picture of your classroom, picture of you, whatever, something fun to make it for that test, that little quiz you're going to do. So there's two quick things you can do with Google Drawings. Again, the Google Docs, adding in layers. And second option would be Google Forms of adding it in here. Just kind of little fun tech tips.
I heard somewhere that for like the header on the Google form, someone put in like a message to their student or
that'd
like
be so cute.
Instructions for their students up there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right? That's great. So I can come over and add a text box. I can insert a text box, the little T, the box, or the little shortcut is right here. All right, absolutely. You can add in words in here. right? Whatever you want to put in there. And just like any other thing, Google Docs, drawings, slides, you can change the font size, change the font itself, put a cool little message in there. Yep, change the color. All those great things that you can do. Maybe put it in the center. I could also come over and like center, put it right in the middle. Great, make it a little bit bigger. Ooh, 60. Okay, too much, too much. How about 48? There we go. All right, same thing. I can go over and do that. Add some kind of cool message in there. Ooh, secret word of the day, maybe. Maybe a little tip for to remind them of something. Awesome. Put those in and save it. You can put it in there. Cool. Thank you, Katie. Good little tip in there too. Talk about that. Yep. Yep. So background. One of the things with Google Drawings you can't do. I can't. I'm gonna back this up. So on my little clear space, if I want it invisible, I could right click and say background. You can change the color of the background. Right now it's transparent. I could make it like a light blue, make it light blue. That might make it nice. And of course, if I do that, you notice that I would want to mask this image because otherwise that white part right there, because it's not a PNG image file, the white part will show up. That's where you can take that masking feature, come over, even though I say circle, there we go. Look at that, boom, it just masked it for me. Love it. So that has a nice, cool background. Right now, if I right click again and go to background, you'll notice that there's no option for like a picture or something like that, which is a little bit sad, but maybe they'll work on that for Google in the future. Gradient could be a cool thing too, to add some nice things in there. You probably can't see all the gradient in there, but yep, you can have some gradients in there. Nice things to do with your background. So or a quick right click, background, you can add something cool in there for, let me start from the light to top. There we go, how about that? And of course, I have to go back and just download it as a PNG file, stick it back in my Google form if I want to do something like that. So it's kind of a fun thing. If you're on Twitter or Instagram, this is a fun way to make a picture to post there. I've seen some people do collages. And again, Google Drawings is a great way to add those layers and be able to post things. Post pictures of your family, right? Your kids and what you're doing for spring break. Put something out there and send it out to kids. That'd be great. All right. And of course, if you have questions that go along the way, go ahead and add those to the chat. Okay, a couple of cool things now. Those two things are out of the way. Another awesome feature of Google Drawings is HyperDocs. And if you're not familiar with HyperDocs, you can check out our website, our Nebo coaches. If you type in Nebo EdTech, this is not the at-home site. This is our digital coach site. It says just Google search Nebo EdTech technology curriculum. And you can find some awesome resources here, teaching with tech, and get to our HyperDocs page. Can talk more about HyperDocs. But Google Drawings would be a great way to use HyperDocs. And so I'm going to come here to get at my sandbox. Here we go. And we've embedded this folder for you, which has a lot of cool ideas. One of those is right here, the ones with the doors. Let's bring this up. So how can you use this for instruction? HyperDocs is a great way to deliver content to students. As we're moving into this last part of the year, we need to cover curriculum, right? It also provides choice, and students, they love choice. Like, hey, I could do this or I could do that. It's nice for students to have that ability. It'll increase their engagement and motivation to actually do the assignment. So here's an example with a teacher made HyperDoc. Says a window into Google Drawings. There are 5 different activities that you can do. So what they did is if I click on the window, it will actually hyperlink to something different. Here's a YouTube video. I haven't seen this one yet. Oh, another little drawing, little video there. Here's a Google site, more I can do. But they put the little title in here, Google Drawings, and just made a quick little link. Here's a Ditch That Textbook, Matt Miller. So let's try one. I'm going to click on it and say, let's go to YouTube. Here we go. And so they even put a playlist. They link to a playlist. So, hey, watch this video first. Watch this video second. Awesome. Click play and students are off and going. Let's check out the hacks. Which one's about hacks? Taking us to a website. Yeah. And so they could read about Google Drawings right there. Awesome. So we take you to a website. The templates, here's another website that someone has made. Yeah, more templates for Google Drawings, which you can use. Look at this, awesome, for social studies, like little posters. Posters would be a great thing you could do besides HyperDocs. Again, changing that size to an 8.5 by 11. I think someone was just talking about like county reports. When I taught 4th grade, this is probably about that time, you're doing county reports. 5th grade, you're doing state reports, maybe some kind of wax museum character in there for upper grades. That would be great. Lower grades, maybe we're doing an animal report. We can definitely change these Google Drawings into an animal report. Again, that file, come down to page setup. I can change that back to the 8.5 by 11, going back to inches. And of course, I probably delete all this stuff in here, but you can get this template set up for students and say, how do you want this to look? I can even get rid of that background for them, unless you want that background all the same. But there we go, right? I can have a little template right here. And you can put in things like, hey, I want all the kids to maybe have a title for name of your, for doing 4th grade, for example, name of your county. It could be at the top, and you can even set what size of font that would be. You could give students choice of, you know, how big do you want things to be. 24 is pretty good. And what, like a rubric, what do they want them to have in there? What do they manufacture? What are some points of interest to that county? Whatever you're already doing, this is a great way for students then to use and create that same poster and be able to submit it digitally. If you're using Google Classroom, awesome. Because that way you could go through and combine those together and share them out like you would your county fair. All right, so that's kind of a fun way to do there. Let's go back. That's kind of the idea of a HyperDoc. And we have, if I can close that one up. Awesome, this is great resource right here, more to do. And let's switch places. Here we go. Another one would be like a tic-tac-toe. Here's another feature that we did for adult learning, a little choice of a professional learning network or personalized learning network, depending on how you want to look at it. But we gave students choice. We said, all right, here are 9 different choices that you could learn about and pick 3, make a bingo out of it, right? And so they can just grab these X's and say, okay, which one did I do? Maybe I learned about, I did part of the Ed Chat. And then maybe they learn about the blog. So let's learn about creating a teacher channel. And the students can go through and do that. They can put the little X's on top, and then they can submit this back through Classroom or through Seesaw, and the teacher would know, hey, okay, this is what that kid did. I also made a few more X's for those overachievers. The nice thing about this is students can go through and do more, right? They want to go out and do more. You know, you have those students or those parents like, hey, my kid's not doing enough. I want them to do more. Well, here's a fun way for students. They can go through and, hey, I want to maybe learn about this, or I want to learn about Google Keep. They can go through and make a second bingo, or they can go through and try for blackout, right? Maybe you have a prize or a badge or something where they would go through and complete more than just the 3 that you require. So that's kind of another idea there, a little teacher bingo. All right. Again, you just put out there different activities that you probably already do in class, but let the students have that choice and that freedom, which will naturally increase motivation and interest for the students to do the work. All right, that's a choice board. We also have a lot of graphic organizers. All right, as students are writing, here's a fun way that students could do things. I'm just going to pull this one up.
Yeah, I put those in just recently because I couldn't get them into an actual folder, but
that's okay.
This was a model to show the fair model, but doing it with your classmate versus starting with content, so they can learn how to use the model before they start using it.
Cool. And one of the things that we really like with Google Drawings is that you notice that off to the side, anything off to the side, and if I were to go to File, Download As, these things will not show up. So it's great for sorting activities in lower grades, for example. If you had like your spelling words and you were to put your word sort in a Google drawing, let's come back here and say, let's make a line. I can click on the little arrow, say let's make a line and make a T-chart. I can make these bigger. There we go, and make another line. I'll just duplicate that. There's a cool thing I can bring, oops. Get back to my arrow. There we go. I could click on it. I can just grab that little circle. I'm gonna rotate this down, but you can make a T-chart. You can do a KWL chart. We have some templates for those. But let's say I add a text box in here. I'm gonna do car. Let's make these bigger because like second graders, my second graders would have a hard time reading that. Maybe that's probably still a little too small. There we go, for this size of paper. Oops. There we go, 36 looks a little better.
Charles?
Yeah. Oh, Pam's in, what's up?
Hello. I think it's better to make a shape with text in it than a text box. It's easier to drag.
Ah, all right, let's try that.
Try that, yeah, because if you make a shape.
And try like a rectangle.
Yeah, and then click inside the shape, you can put in text, and then that's easier to drag and drop.
I like the color on it too.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Yeah, and of course you have to make this, centered for kids, and that'd be so much easier. I think I like it. Let's get rid of that one. There we go, like a car. I like that idea. Add another shape in there, so you can go through and figure out what whatever your spelling words are going to be and your sort for that week, and add in some different words. And then again, students could just grab these, right? Get the little arrow, drag them into whatever they are. Awesome, right? And then of course they would just turn this in again through Classroom or Seesaw, and they can make it more interactive instead of just a worksheet where they're just writing with paper and pencil. Awesome, good tip there, Pam. Nice one. So this is kind of the same thing. Anything off to the side, my point was anything off to the side is not going to be part of that, but you can add in notes. Going back to this idea, you can add in your words or things for students to sort. Maybe they were doing, going to fourth grade examples. I think it was, my daughter came back with like amphibians and reptiles. You could put a bunch of different pictures of those animals along the outside, amphibians and reptiles, and students could drag the appropriate picture into that sort.
Can I say something else too?
Sure.
So, yeah, it's important if you're sharing these with your students that they want to be in the edit version if they're going to drag and drop. So if you just, share it. So when you just don't want students can view when they make their own copy. You want that students can edit and then make a copy for each student.
Cool.
That's not going to be able to do that. So.
Right. When you're adding this into Google Classroom, just make sure that we make a copy for each kid. Make a copy for each kid. Nice. All right. Here's another one. Graphic organizer that you might like. All right. It has directions off to the side, and it has a little sandwich chart. Same thing you probably do in class. This is a way you can do it digitally, and have students accountable. Say, hey, let's this week for upper grades, let's just get your outline done, your sandwich chart done, and get that typed up and put in a Google Classroom. And then maybe the end of the week, we'll start to actually do our writing using this rough draft, this organizer. So this is another good one that we have. We've been kind of scouring the internet over the last few years and finding these and putting them together. Here's another folder. Again, all these resources, for those who maybe I heard some people chiming in, are back on our at-home learning. I'll hurry and highlight this one more time. Under elementary and our Zoom webinars, when you scroll all the way down the bottom, because it's our most recent one, we'll have our, right, here it is, our Google Drawings. We'll have our link to our video today. Underneath has all of our resources in there. as we're
There's
going.
also a lot in the newsletter that went out yesterday. I
Yes.
linked to a lot of template resources on there. So.
Yes. All right. Let's close those up. And you notice that inside here, you're going to have inside this folder, graphic organizers and storyboards. There's a lot that teachers have already made that you can use. 3-box, 4-box, 6-box storyboard. If you want to storyboard it, there's the cause and effect chain. I'll just kind of open this one up. So you got a nice little idea. Here's my cause, here's an effect, which leads then to something else. This would be great for maybe a sequencing if you're doing a book. There's a little literacy integration there as well. Easy to use. Students can, again, have their own copy, click on the box, and they can enter in their own text. Let's scroll down. Is there a coach that wants to highlight another or a different one? Jump on. I'm going to show a couple ones that I've liked. The Fishbone. I remember seeing this one back 20 years ago, back in college. Some different ways of using a Fishbone, right? Maybe your advantages, disadvantages. Great. This one looks by Matt Miller. Thank you for sharing, Matt.
I can point something out, unless you're going to talk about integrating with Classroom.
Go for it.
And we've got a question from Bob, it looks like. Let's look at his question here.
Oops, didn't want to see that.
Oh, how we can access the graphic organizers. Bob wants to know. Why don't you do that first? Let's answer his, and then I'll go back to.
So if I'm on our at-home learning website, elementary, again, Zoom webinars, here it is at the bottom of the page for right now.
You're not sharing your screen anymore, Charles.
Uh-oh.
We love your face, but.
It's okay. Let's go back into that one more time. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Looks like. Boom. Am I back?
Yep.
Okay. Great. So if we open up one of these graphic organizers, here's that graphic organizers and storyboards folder. It's the blue folder button. I can click on it. We made it so it's a view only.
Charles, would you show just how to get there again?
Yeah.
To the actual site.
Let's go back one more time because it says no preview available. Let's do that one more time. So to get to our, actually let's back up even farther for those if they're not sure, our nebo.edu. I'm going to click on the employees page. Just click on employees, and right here at the very top is our home learning resources or at-home learning that we have made for you. And there's different ways of getting there. There's elementary resources at the bottom, but at the top is elementary. Come down to Zoom webinars, where you'll find all of our archive of our Zoom webinars that we've done. The chat is being listed and recorded there as well, but you'll see little videos are popping in. I'm just going to scroll down, and keep going. We're almost there. There it is, Google Drawings. That's where we're at today. And so we'll add our Zoom video link there, but now we're going to scroll down just a little bit more, and it says a folder for Google Drawings ideas. This is what we've shared with you. So you can click on any of these links. Let's go to the, again, graphic organizers and storyboards. And it's not showing up on mine.
Go and add it to Drive. Like go over to your,
It's add to my own. So, okay, over here at the top right-hand side, add shortcut to Drive. Let's do that. Maybe Greg or Heather can go back and see why is that not showing up. It'd be great. And say I can add it to my own drive. Great. Let's add it to my drive. And if I'm going to stick this in just a folder right now, my Soundbox folder, and say add a shortcut here. There it is. I'm going to add a little shortcut. So now in my Sandbox folder that I just had there, it just popped up, graphic organizers and storyboards. I can click on it and have access to all of those resources that we were just looking at.
Can you bring up this some more to our newsletter?
I think I had that up. Yeah, here it is.
So I put some in there too in that second section.
Right down here.
Left, there's two.
I'll start at the top. So here, Nebo Tech Tips, Google Drawings. Thank you, Pam, for adding this. This is a lot of work. This is great. Good stuff.
So right there, those two sites there, those two links have a lot of templates.
And for those who don't know, Matt Miller, author of Ditch That Textbook, and more. Great is our USET keynote. Eric Hertz, these guys are just Google masters. So anything they put out, you know, it's going to be really good stuff.
So that's just another place. So.
Yep. If you want some more, yep, there's Google Drawing Basics. This little video, I was watching that this morning for getting started with Google Drawings. It's pretty cool. And as Pam was talking about using Google templates and assigning in Classroom, there's a video by Casey Bell, another Google guru, of how you can work that into Classroom. Great.
If you'll refresh our page.
Let's do it.
Not that one.
Not that one.
I don't know why that's not working, but go back to our page. Refresh that.
Okay, our webinar page.
Webinar page. Now, what I've done is click where it says folder for Google Drawings, ideas and templates.
Cool.
I create that as a link.
A link. There we go.
Let's just.
That's probably a little easier to look at.
Because it wasn't showing everything anyway. It was only showing that Windows template folder versus all of those folders. So
cool. Cool. All right, so there we go. So we have that's where the folder we've been in is this graphic organizers and storyboards. Nice. Even here's a little Venn diagram. Your webbing, if you like webs, I like webs. There you go. Sequencing a story map. I want to see that one real quick.
And the link is anyone who has the link can view it. So everyone who goes in here will be able to view all of these and make their own copies.
Cool. Let's talk about that, because that was one of the things in that video. So when you find something, hey, I really like that, come up to the file and you can make your own copy right here. You can also, once you make that copy, it'll say copy of. Let's do that actually. All right, it says copy of, and it says where do you want to put that. I can change it right now, that folder. That's an interesting name. That's not my folder, but I can come back to my drive and I can put that wherever I want in my Google Drive. If I want to put it into a shared folder or something, right?
You need to go, since it was in somebody else's drive, you need to go all the way back to your drive and then find your folders. Else it's just putting it in somebody else, organizing it in somebody else's drive.
Which, that may have done that, right? If you don't go all the way back, that's not my folder, that one that popped up. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back, all the way back, the little back button, find my drive, and then I can go forward with the arrow and put it wherever I want. Put it right here in the sandbox and say, select it. So now it says, yep, my sandbox folder, and I can change the name, get rid of the copy of if I want. That's kind of annoying to me. There we go, and just hit okay, and it makes my own copy, and it puts it in the folder where I want it. So again, keeping organized in Google Drive is also important as we're creating things. And there it is. This is my own copy.
If you're going to make any changes to it, since this is a shared drive, just make sure you make a copy before you make any changes. If you get your templates from those other sites that are linked to the newsletter, like from Matt Miller or Eric Kurtz, it will force you to make a copy. So sometimes it's a little easier to grab them from there, then you don't have to worry about editing somebody else's copy. And
Pam, they shouldn't be able to edit it. We all can, because we have editing rights to that folder.
Oh, got it. Because you're looking at it. Awesome.
Review only.
Good.
So one of the things we don't want to have you do up at the top, like, hey, I can't edit this. Thank you, Pam, for bringing that up. Is a little button that says request access somewhere in the top right-hand corner. Please don't click that. Instead, just again, go to the file, make your own copy, and then you'll have edit access. The last thing we need is, 100, 200 teachers every day requesting access for a document. It would overwhelm that person's inbox, the owners. So, yep, file, make a copy. Great. All right, I'm going to close this up. And let's go back. I'm going to go back to here with our folder that we sent. Interactive word wall. Let's check this out. And I believe this is Miles, I think, was putting this in here. Like how to use this.
Go to the science one too, after you look at some of those.
Yeah, so thanks. That's what I was going to do, math or science. We'll go to science for you. So how to use this folder, check out this document that was created. Give you some more little hints on using Google Drawings, but you can kind of work through and it'll give you ideas of how to use the folder. We're just going to skip ahead and show you. Again, Make your own copy. We just talked about that. Here we go, science. And that this person that we borrowed from, check this out. I saw this one this morning, changes in matter. I think this is one I was looking at. Here we go. Yeah, and so you can make your own interactive worksheet, but how much better is this, right? It's in color. Every kid gets their own copy. They can turn it in digitally, do it at home. It's great. You notice that the teacher again put links and directions off to the side. They also made it interactive. It said drag the numbers and place them on the appropriate area. So like which one's a physical change. Students, again, I'm in view only. So again, that's where I have to make my own copy. I can't edit anything or move things around. But they could grab these little circles and drag them onto the little digital worksheet or Google Drawing, and they're off and running. Kind of a cool idea. And they also, you can kind of see off to the side, it says you could turn this into a poster using Google Drawings. They could print it off. You could hang it in your classroom if you wanted to later on, or in the hallway for parents to check out. That'd be kind of fun too. Maybe students could even make their own version of this changes in matter and have some fun with that too.
Can I just throw something out there?
Yeah.
If you're talking about printing Google Drawings, because it's a great way to make flyers or posters, not that we're doing a lot of print stuff right now, but for future reference, maybe. You can download, if you go to File, Charles, will this let you download? Yeah. You can see your download options as PDF, JPEG, and PNG. So when would you want to use each option? If you want to print, PDF is your best option. You're going to get the best resolution. If you just download it as an image, it's not going to be as nice of a print for you. So just if you're talking about printing something out, if you're going to use it on the web, you'd want to use your JPEG. And a PNG, if it's like just an object, will give you an option of having a transparent background.
Yep.
We can talk about vector graphics later, but mainly what I want to point out, if you're making something to print, you'd want to download it as a PDF to print.
Great.
So.
Good tip.
The other thing I want to share with this, Charles, is with Flipgrid being able to screencastify now, or be able to screencast, you could use this as an assessment too. So you could have your students be explaining why it's a physical change, or why it's, I don't know all these terms, chemical change, all that stuff, but they could be explaining to you why they're choosing the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Flipgrid, and you're getting an actual, rather than just seeing the numbers moved, you're seeing why, and some of their, you're getting their thinking too, which I think is going to be good. So
that's huge, right? That's what we want as educators. We want to find out what they're thinking. So great, 2 ideas. Ideas to use screencasting software too. So you said Flipgrid is a nice, easy one to use. The other one is Screencastify. I'll throw a little shout out for this one. Screencastify, they have a beta version. And of course, I just lost the name of it. What do they call it?
Short.
Well, that's Flipgrid.
It's Screencastify.
It's the Submit,
yeah. So you can sign up to be, have the Submit, and the students could have access to Screencastify, screencast, and record their voice, and you could see them dragging things onto the Google Drawing, and really have a good understanding of what they know and what they don't know. Great assessment tool. Formative or summative. Good idea. Good. Miles, anything else with that one?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay. So I'll come back. So you might want to check out some of the, again, science. This is nice. Kind of see how things are working. I saw a solar system. I'm not sure if it was this one right here, but students would go through and label the order of the planets, I think was one, or drag the planets into the right solar system. How cool would that be? Let's see if this one does that. No, but how cool would that be to take these planets out and students could drag the planets into the right order? That's awesome. There you go. This one's kind of similar to the other one, so I won't show that one much more. But there are some cool things with science. Let's go back to math just for a few minutes. And so even with math, you could see using manipulatives for students. How about algebra tiles? Here we go. And right, so you kind of put like your base 10 blocks up there. If you're doing it for younger grades of adding and subtracting, you could go through and put those off and maybe put them off to the side, right? So they can just drag and bring them out as needed. Could be a way of using Google Drawings as well. And again, that whole screencasting idea that this person at Katie Christie, good job for putting that out there. And then two, again, Screencastify or Flipgrid would be good for that. Okay. So again, I was kind of scrolling through some of the different math. This is a higher level math, but you can definitely do it for younger grades as well. And
Those
really
watching,
fun.
there's not been a lot of questions. Do you guys have any questions, things you'd like to see since we're getting close to our hour before we move on?
Put this up. Okay, and someone put some archives in here, but these are more PDFs, it looks like, printable PDFs that students are messing with, not quite interactive or Google Drawing type things, but could be kind of cool to check out as well. I think that was it. Kind of our basics. I didn't put a window template. Oh, so the window template that I was showing before, this kind of a HyperDoc idea, window template. If you want to see that again in this folder, again, our Google Drawings window template, you'll have the template that was in there. This is the hacks and template, which led to some more those templates in there, Google Drawings. The next one over was, here's how we kind of do it. And the teacher even made a video of how to use this and how to link things in there. So that's a quick short one that you might want to watch. It's only a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, I believe, for that. And the teacher actually shows how do you create your own HyperDoc using Google Drawings and using her template there with the windows. All right. Anything else? I think we've covered it.
Great job, Charles.
Yes, and Bob soaking it all in. So a couple tips. I keep hearing from teachers like, hey, just watch. It might have been a little bit, it was quite fast, right? Even for an hour, like, wow, it's a lot to get through. Go back, watch the video again. Please don't be afraid to reach out to your digital coach and say, hey, what was that about? Or what's that? How do I do that again? How can I use this for my specific grade level? Or I had this idea. How can I link in Google Drawings with that as well? And again, our website will have under our at-home learning. I covered that before on the Nebo homepage. Click employees, click on the learning resources, will bring you to our page. Elementary, Zoom webinars will bring you to all of our previous Zoom meetings. And our Google Drawings will be added shortly in the next hour or two, so watch out for that, and our resources are there as well.
I just have something to add.
Shoot.
Everyone's gone here. Just one more tip, and you'll see this with using it with Google Classroom, but know on your Google Classroom assignments that you can add more than one thing. So if you have a writing assignment,
absolutely,
you could put in your template to do your graphic organizer. So you could put that, like, do the graphic organizer first, and then give them the template for the Google Doc, or tell them just to go create their own doc. So you could even have them read something, put some passages they want to read, do a graphic organizer, and then write something. So you can add multiple things to your doc. So you could add a template, add a document and put all those in Google Classroom and make it more complete writing assignment for your students that could, like, maybe, proceed out over a couple days. And the nice thing with Google Classroom is you can look at any time and look at the progress that they're making on those. And students are going to have this create button also on their when they go into this, so you can even direct them in your directions to create a new Google Doc. You don't have to always create that template for them, and then they can do their writing after you've looked at their template. So just a reminder that you can put more than one thing in a Google.
Yeah, I did that a few years ago. I had my students go in and create their own I think it was the water cycle of some. No, it was the how heat moves. So between convection, radiation, and those things. And they created their own graphics and images to turn in, but they created their own from Google Classroom and then turned it in. So, yep, totally can do that.
Yep. Awesome. And of course, one more time, in Google Classroom, when you add something from Google, you can have students either review it, they can edit, which means all of them would edit the same file. We don't want that probably for this assignment, but that magic make a copy for each student is there. Just make sure you do that before you click the magic assign button, and off you go. Thanks so much. You've been great.
Awesome, everybody. This will be uploaded and put onto our website by the end of the day.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
We got this. Go get it done. Bye, everyone.